let's hop now. No, nothing can move you.
Now, you know me and this guy have been having our issues. That's right, Roland Martin. Roland Martin is one of the biggest marks for the Democratic Party, one of the biggest suckers, one of the biggest sellouts in black history. Whenever a racist show their racist skin, they go to this guy to try to calm black people about this racist. That's how they did with Megyn Kelly. She came out in blackface, made a joke about Diana Ross with that big old black Marge Simpson hair, and man, we got on her like white on rice. No pun intended. So the media have to trot out a black man to try to cover for her, to try to explain to her. And some black people sat there and fell for it. Still don't negate the fact that that woman is a bigot to the TIT. She is racist as they come. And she continues to show her races every time she get herself on TV. But Sugar Bear can't get enough of that Golden Crisp. That's what I call them. Always covering up for white supremacists in the Democratic Party, just like Tim Scott covered up for white supremacy in the Republican Party. You ought to be ashamed of yourself covering up for these bigots when you need to uncover who they are, expose them for who they are, and hopefully they can do something to fix themselves. If not, then somebody got to, you just got to. Well, what happened recently, Roland Martin had a young brother on his show. Young brother on the show who happens to have a heart for children. Happen to have a heart for children. See, I am formerly a youth leader in my congregation. I've had a major, I love my kids at the church. I love them tremendously. And all I wanted to do was to see them prosper. So I did whatever I could to help them become greater men. So here's the story, and I'm going to go over this story right here real quick. And I think this is a good story. I think you should like, share, and send this to anybody that you know, okay? 21-year-old to open up new school in Albany, not New York, Albany, Georgia. He would teach boys about life. This is the video. These are the boys he's working on. Hopefully this will play.
A 21-year-old youth leader is opening a new school in Albany. The X for Boys founder, King Randall, will transform the former Isabella School into the New Life Preparatory School for Boys. Randall tells WALB News 10's Gabrielle Ware he hopes this school will give Albany boys more opportunities for success.
King Randall says he's been wanting to open a school since he began the X for Boys program 2 years ago. He was only 19 years old.
Doing different workshops, teaching young men how to do different skill trades. We were also doing a book club, so I was teaching them, how to read, because 93% of the children that I come into contact with can't read. But now we have an 86% reading comprehension rate.
His camps also taught life skills like auto repair and sheetrocking. The kids were even invited to the White House. He says troubled young men in Albany want to live better lives. They just need more opportunity.
And so giving them a space where you have a facility where you're around a lot of young men and you're around other men that are trying to mold you and train you. I've had kids come find me my house. They came knock on my door and ask to come join the X Boys.
Now I have to stop this every now and then because they do have fair use clause, and I got to honor that or I get strike by YouTube.
Kids message me on Instagram, etc. Gang members, you name it.
Randall says he worked with Doherty County School System to find the perfect location.
I gave the superintendent a call and I asked did they have any old school buildings they didn't mind, getting rid of. And he was like, well, we have 3 buildings on the chopping block to be demolished. And I was like, oh, really? He was like, yeah. So I went to go tour one of them. and it's in great condition. Of course, it needs a little TLC, but they just stopped using it maybe about 2 years ago.
Randall has received nationwide support for his new effort, including receiving about 10,000 masks from the Ford Motor Company for his future students.
And Randall says they will use the building to continue current programming. When it's ready, the actual boarding school will not open for about a year. Now, we'll give you more information on that as this story develops.
So what we have here is a young brother, 20-something years old, King Randall, who founded the X for Boys. This is a brother who decided to grab boys and teach them how to be men, how to do manly duties. Now, I know a lot of people just going to get upset because of this right here. Self-sufficient is what I believe in. 21, Christian conservative ADOS, DM is full. Why? Because he's doing something popular for his community. Understand, folks, I don't care whether you're conservative, I don't care if you're a Republican, I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't even care about titles, you know me. As long as you got a vision to help out your community, I'm all in for you. And I'm going to do a monthly donation to this brother. Now, ain't $1 million I would like to give unless, Lord, you do something great for me today. I did get a ticket. I'm sorry. Did get the lottery ticket. But this brother believes in taking young men and teaching them how to be young men. For some freaking reason, today, men and women, they don't let politics and all this kind of crap stop them from doing what they had to go through. They were taught how to be men. They were taught how to be women. No, I mean, we in a society where you get to identify whoever you want to identify, but to me, nothing should be done concerning sexuality until the person is a preteen. In the meantime, let them be whoever they are. Let them play, let them have fun. Kids supposed to be doing that. They shouldn't be talking about nothing else but having fun and when we go into Disney World. Let's go fishing. We need to get back to teaching these boys how to be men. Teach them how to hunt, teach them how to fish, teach them how to farm, teach them how to tote a gun. Because the white community teach, I lived in Virginia and the border of Virginia and North Carolina for over 10 years, almost 20. Actually 20. And one thing they do is they take their boys and even their girls, wake them up in the morning, put them in the boat and teach them how to fish. They wake up in the morning, early in the morning, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, they got their hunting license, they got their own gun, and they teach them how to hunt deer. They teach them how to plant. Let me talk to you for a second. Some people are not going to like me for saying these things, but I don't care. I am not. I told you I got some conservative in me, I got some liberal in me, I got some progressive in me. You can't put me in a box, and I don't let people put me in a box. I'm not conservative. I'm not progressive media. I'm not that. I'm black, and I use my platform to push black community issues, but also use it to push issues that matter in the world. But it doesn't come before me pushing black issues. In my community, I'm going to let politics try to tell us and shape us on what we need to do with our kids. Honestly speaking, kids should be kids up to about 7, 8 years old. Then you can start molding them and shaping them to learn how to do stuff. Kids start hitting preteen, you need to be out there teaching them how to farm, teaching them how to fish, teaching them how to work their own job, teaching them how to start their own business. Rob, you sound like a conservative. That like I said, some conservative do not mean you're Republican, and you know, conservative just mean you're very, very stuck on some things and strict on some things, and you're not going to get out of proportion of it. It doesn't mean right-wing philosophy. You got conservative Democrats too, stuck, don't want to change. But I am open to change, so I'm a hybrid. We need to get back, ladies, you need to get back to teaching your daughters how to be ladies. Now, once they get to an age where they feel like they can make the major decisions of their life, Let them be who they choose to be. But I read in ancient scripture, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he get old, he won't depart from it. Some of y'all out there making your daughters your girlfriends. Y'all going to the club together. What kind of mess is that? Ma, he looking at you. Oh, I thought he was looking at you. He looking at you. He looking at both of y'all. They'll try to get with both of y'all. You and your mama should not be hanging out in no club. Let me get to this story. I applaud this brother. This brother is using whatever talent that God gave him to reach out to the kids in the community. We need more than that. We don't need our kids looking up to the drug dealer. We don't need our kids looking up to this person that's a bad influence. We need somebody that really, really care for them, to really, really want to invest in them, and this young brother is doing it. And once you start doing it, when you start getting some traction, you can get some haters like this old sugar bear, beanbag head. Lord, forgive me. Roland Martin. Roland Martin. Roland Martin is so concerned about blacks sucking up to the Democratic Party that if you're not, whatever you're doing, I could care less. I need you to start teaching these boys how to suck up to the Democratic Party like I do. I suck it up. I sop it up like a biscuit. Joe Biden turned his butt cheeks around me. I sop it up like a biscuit. I'm sorry. I got a friend who's watching this, but that's what it is. When this brother's saying we need to stop leaning on Democratic and Republican parties, and we need to start focusing on developing our own communities without the need for them. If anything, we need to detach ourselves from them and make them come to us. Okay, back and forth. Roland Martin went on a back and forth with this brother on his Instagram, on his Twitter. And let's go take a look at this guy Twitter. Very interesting Twitter. But Roland started to troll this dude. Now, you know me, I got my problem with me and Roland. Roland had me strike for almost 90 days on an old video about him and Jill Stein was the guest. That old video. Now, remember he said he was trying to create a school. He said, Black history is still being created. I'm 21. I'm buying a school and I'm opening a boarding school for young men in my community. First of its kind where we live. Now, I know some of you saying why he's not opening a public school. Because the public school is going to try to control what is taught in our school system. And the public school system don't need to be trying to control black kids on what they should learn. Here's the school. 36,000 square feet. 25 classroom, cafeteria, media center, much better than the previous location we were looking at. So this was not too long ago. All they need is a little refurbishing, and the community can come together and help with that. And if you get a chance, go donate to the xforboys.org and donate. See, our Department of Justice system don't even teach true black history. Most of the history that we learn about makes us look inferior. We hear about all the so-called great white leaders and their greatness, and they're our heroes, and only a few people black as heroes. They lied about Malcolm X and made us hate Malcolm X when Malcolm X was one of our greatest heroes and one of our best philosophers. They never teach us about Marcus Garvey. They never teach us the truth about the Black Panthers, Bobby Seale, and you name it. Medgar Evers and, Fred Hampton and all that. They never teach us that. They don't teach us about the many genocides that happened in America that will make the Jewish Holocaust look like an after-school program. They don't tell us that. His brother vision is huge. Beautiful land, to do a whole lot with. Then you got numbnuts like Roland Martin. You read the tweets. This guy's doing his thing. Doing his thing. Now, I'm about to play this video, but I can't play it all. Because Roland Martin is a punk. Yeah, I said it. And he will strike me. So instead of showing you the video, I'll play the audio. And let me put this up here first. In good faith, this work contains fair use of copyrighted and non-copyrighted images from the public domain and the web for non-commercial or non-profit educational purposes. I'm not asking anybody to pay to watch this or none of that. If you choose to donate, that's on you. This work is being distributed free of charge and nobody paid. It's not going in the members only section. I'm not monitorizing this. Me monitorizing is a waste of time. They'll strike it before I even finish monitorizing. And when I do get monitorized, it's 10 cents. The author has neither monetized his work nor sought any profit from its distribution. I'm not seeking profit. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism. You're going to hear me be a critic. Comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use allowed or permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Google, Facebook. And understand this, you strike this, I'm adding it to my repertoire because I am planning on striking back. And you need to stop playing with my subscription, unsubscribing people without their permission, because they can strike back at you too. This work contained original work of commentary and critical analyst. Quotations are attributed to the original authors and source. And on that note, here we go. We're going to start off where Roland Martin first started off, just basically saying, So you can tell when he's about to go off on a tangent because he always starts with that.
Of the X for Boys organization based out of Georgia. So King, explain.
So first of all, before we get into it, he has a guy who founded a school. This guy is coming up here to promote his school. I'm not interested in coming on your show to talk about political stuff. You got me on the show because you heard about me and my school. And you had some issues with me talking about me being conservative, and I believe in doing for self. Look, I have conservative in me too. I believe you should always never 100% trust the government. You already know that from your own experience. They ain't your friend. They ain't gonna try to do anything. You gotta force them. And to me, the best way to force them is detach yourself away from these alliances, because they're not aligned. They don't have no alliance to you. They just killed $15 minimum wage. Democrats, 6 of them, didn't even want to put it in because they didn't want to force Kamala Harris to make the tough decision, Hillary Clinton, to take it out of the bill. Because Joe Biden really isn't for $15 minimum wage, and he's not really for Medicare for all. He said, if you put it on his desk, I'm going to vote no. And this thing about moving them to the left ain't happening. So I believe you should start detaching yourself from these political parties and become one voting bloc to force their hands. Never depend on the government. Now, don't get me wrong. You're invested in this government. You put time working. And you're laid off or you're fired. You're supposed to get unemployment. That's your money. You're invested in this country with your tax dollars. You don't ask for much. So when it's time for you to get a stimulus check, it's your money. They should be giving you $2,000 every freaking month. of your money. They shouldn't be making that decision. The people should be doing it through ballot initiative. So even though I believe in voting, I don't believe you should vote Democrat or Republican. You vote on the policies that favor you, and you vote for the person who have a track record and somebody you honestly believe that's going to do these things, not somebody you're a little shabby about. So here you got this black brother who say I'm conservative. Doesn't mean he's Republican, because you got conservative Democrats. And I believe in not waiting on the government, because if the government is going to tell you no, you got to still move forward and get it done. So this is what this brother is talking about. And Roland Martin is upset because this black young man ain't going to be like him, kissing the behind of the Democratic Party.
Why in the world? You're conservative, correct?
Yes, sir.
So please explain to me why this bill, why Republicans are pushing for a voter suppression bill when last year we saw record turnout in Georgia. Record turnout. So why would they want to restrict voting when you just had record turnout in Georgia?
Now, my question would have been to Roland Martin, why are you asking me about this, man? Just because I'm conservative don't mean I got anything to do with that. Conservative mean that that's something I want done. That's a Republican issue for that state. And that's a Republican issue for the Republican Party too. Republicans want to deal with voting. They want to deal with voting. I call it voter stifling, voter suppression. Democrats don't want to take the time to put people back on the voting roll. Democrats have people get kicked off the roll, and it's not the issue of voter suppression 100%. It's out there and it's wrong. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of people get thrown off the rolls, and the Democratic Party don't want to do anything to get them back on the roll. They had to hire Stacey Abrams and use Bloomberg money to get people back on the roll because they wanted to win a state. Still beyond me why Joe Biden pick old freaky Jamie Harrison, a loser against Lindsey Graham. A loser in the last DNC race. He puts him in charge of the DNC instead of Stacey Abrams, who had a template of winning 50 states. Dumb decision. It's because Joe Biden don't want to put no black person in charge of that. We haven't had a black person in charge of the DNC other than when they kicked Marshall Flood had to take over temporarily, and for Hillary Clinton when they kicked Debbie Wasserman Schultz out, but they replaced her with Tom Perez. So we haven't had a brother to be the head of the DNC since Ron Brown. Well, let me keep going.
Well, let me start off by saying you had me mistaken. I'm not a Republican. I do consider myself conservative.
No. Actually, I didn't say Republican. I said you're conservative.
Okay.
Yeah, but you asking them questions concerning Republicans, not questions concerning conservative, you beanbag head.
I said you're conservative.
Right, absolutely.
That's what I said.
Right. Yeah, I was saying that because you called me a Republican on Twitter. However, with this particular bill, I don't consider voting my particular fight. I do consider voting an asset to us and maybe something we can use as a tactic to help. But as far as us pushing voting all the way out, like voting is going to be some systemic change for the black community, to me is not the way to go.
Now, before I get into that, I feel exactly like that brother. I believe voting has its place. A lot of people talk about, say, Rob, you preach the gospel of no voting. I preach the gospel of no voting for you. I look at you, imano, eyeball to eyeball. I want to see your platform. I want to see what you did in the past concerning my community. Why should I trust that you're going to do something all because you need my vote? We've been hoodwinked, bamboozling, all that, as Malcolm X said. For years, 4 years, year after year, 2 years, 1 year, and nothing get done for the black community. That's why we can't depend on voting to put a particular party in power to get things done for us. We got to do it ourselves or come together as our own and force their hands. Roland Martin don't believe that. He believed we should just put them in power and we get whatever crumbs we can get. As one lady told me, we got to get whatever crumbs we get. Fool, I've been a voter since I was 18. I'm not a slouch. I worked all my life. I made some bad decisions, don't get me wrong, but I worked all my life. The money I've invested in this government, no, I don't get what crumbs they throwing at me. No, I'm coming after you, bro. I don't want no crumbs. I want the bread and the bread factory, man.
If you look at the human anatomy of the body has as many different parts. And I do respect you guys' fight, you know, in regards to voting, but I don't consider myself fighting for the right to vote that much. Because
Do you not vote?
We hadn't got anything.
Do you not vote?
Government. Yes.
See, this is the mistake most numbnuts like he make. He didn't say he didn't vote. He said he vote. He said he teaches kids to vote, but he teaches kids don't depend on voting, because if you depend on it, you're going to be gravely disappointed. Voting is just an action. You got to do more than voting to get things done. You can't depend on voting. Roland Martin believed everything rise and fall on voting, and that's why he ain't going nowhere. Can't even get a job in the Democratic Party. All that butt kissing he done did with his sugar bear lips.
Sir, I vote, absolutely.
Okay, so when you say you guys' fight, first of all, there are multiple fights, there are multiple issues we can be concerned about. Voting is one of those issues. Are you not concerned that Republicans in your state are trying to restrict access to the ballot for no reason other than they are pushing the lie that Donald Trump also pushed?
Right, absolutely. I understand exactly what you're saying. However, again, that's not my fight. I believe.
No. I know. I asked you a question. Ask your question. The question is this here.
He just answered Roland Martin's question. He clearly saying, I get it. I understand what you're saying, but that's not my fight. In other words, I'm not going to be putting a whole lot of energy that you think I should into this. I agree with you. I think it's wrong. You shouldn't do it, but I'm not going to put my energy in trying to make that thing change. I got my energy over here on getting the school done, getting it repaired, and get it done. That's your fight. I support your fight. If it's a good fight that's going to help black people gain more in society, then I'm with you, but I'm not going to dedicate my energy and not even my time on this TV to push your fight. You're not going to use me to push what you want done. You got me up here to talk about what I'm doing for black kids in my area. Other than that, why am I up here, bro?
Do you believe Republicans in your state are wrong to be pushing this voter suppression bill?
Can you give me the list of things that's all on the bill? Because I know you said the voter ID.
Well, no. Here's a perfect example. This particular bill right here gets rid of no excuse absentee balloting. Republicans in Georgia passed no excuse absentee balloting 15 years ago, thinking it was going to help them. They're angry because you had people who voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and also John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock won. So they're changing the law because they're angry they lost at the ballot box. But for 14 years, it was fine until last year. Is that, again, do you consider that to be egregious on the part of Georgia Republicans? Why would they change the law because they lost? How about making a better argument for the voters?
I agree with you. I do. I agree with you. I'm not.
He agreed with them. Okay, that's still not going to be enough for this. No, watch this.
Issue there. I definitely think that is an issue that I believe you guys could fight. But that again, voting is not my issue to fight. I believe.
So what's your issue to fight?
My issue, I fight for young black men before they die. And that's what I do in my organization. I do teach them to vote, but I don't tell them that voting is going to be the be-all, end-all.
No one says the be-all, the end-all, but it's a part of it.
But you guys...
He just said, you dumb... He just said, I teach them to vote. I teach them to vote, but I teach them don't depend on it to make true change. You have to do more than just vote. And you have to vote for people who are really, really in your best interest and don't have a track record for being in your best interest. But let me keep going. This dude.
But you guys promote voting like it's just going to change like the systemic outlook of the black community. That's not where it's at. We have to get out and go do for self in our own communities.
So define do for self.
Bruh. You Mr. Historian. Why don't you go listen to Malcolm X and he'll tell you what doing for self is. Heck, why don't you go listen to Elijah Muhammad? Didn't agree with the philosophy, the religious philosophy, but his teaching concerning doing for self was right on point. It was enough where people can buy into it without even buying into the religion. But you're supposed to be Mr. I know black history. Why you got to defend yourself? You don't know what doing for self is? You actually think doing for self means I got to vote for a Democrat?
When I say do for self, you shared one of my tweets, my videos, and I was actually a big fan of yours, but you shared one of my tweets when I said black people need to stop begging the government and go and do for self out in our communities. You shared the video and called me an idiot. I didn't see anything idiotic about that statement at all.
So when you say do for self, like what? Explain that.
Okay, for example, here in Albany, Georgia, we complain about our school systems a lot. Many of our young men can't read. They have very horrible literacy rates. We don't have any rehab programs here for juvenile offenders. What I decided to do, I started a program 2 years ago, decided to do for self, and I started taking children into my home. I started taking custody of kids in juvenile court, and I started molding them and training them and teaching them skilled trades, etc. Now I'm 21 years old. I just purchased a school here in Albany, Georgia to combat us being in the government-funded schools that are not teaching our children what they need to learn. So that's what I mean by do for self, simply getting up and going out and do it.
So
I beat the stereotype that I'm young, black in America, and I can't do anything because somebody's holding me down. Absolutely not.
So a question.
Teenagers went and go ahead. Me and some teenagers went and bought a school, and we just bought a school bus simply from going out and doing work. We decided to go fix our own communities. I'm not expecting anything from no politician. I'm not expecting nothing from Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or nobody. We're gonna go do it for ourselves, and that's what I believe we need to be doing. I can vote, sure, but nothing's gonna change in our community.
So you went to the juvenile court system. Is that not government?
Absolutely.
So when you say purchased a school.
Now, folks, understand this. Roland just asking dumb behind questions. Of course, that's government, the juvenile. He didn't say you can't, government has no place. He just said you can't depend. See, what he's trying to tell Roland Martin, trying to spin this thing, voting has nothing to do with the juvenile jail system. None of it. Most of those people working as guards wasn't voting in, and even the person who running the jail, the warden or whatever you call them, they wasn't voted in. It was a job position available and they fulfilled it. So what the heck that got to do with anything? So he's trying to make this guy look like he's not for government. The brother said, no, I'm not saying that government don't have its place. It has its place, but I'm just saying we can't depend on the government to get stuff done. And I'm glad that progressives are starting to understand that you can't depend on them. You got to force them. You got to literally twist their hands behind their back. Not literally, but you got to literally put them in a position where they have no choice or their career is done. But voting for them just to vote for them, just because they're D or R, that got nothing to do with it. I'm sitting here in New York City, everybody sitting up here kissing AOC behind. She go out there and raise money for all these people in Dallas, Texas, and we got all these programs happening in the Bronx. And I'm telling Jamal Bowden, who represent my area, the same thing, bro. You better not be doing like she doing, trying to go all Hollywood. Leave that Hollywood stuff alone and get to working for your people. Doggone schools underfunded down here. There's no funding. There's no program. This brother is, and now we're going to have to start doing what this brother is doing. We can't depend on her to get the government money for us. She's too busy kissing Nancy Pelosi behind.
And this school is going to be what? Private school? Charter school? What kind of school is it going to be?
No, it will be independently owned. This will not be funded by the government.
No, that's why I asked you. So it's going to be a private school.
Yeah.
And understand, folks, I am for him. Anytime you start getting funding from the government, they want to control from the DOE how you should teach. As long as you're teaching the basics, fine. But none of these kids in the public school are learning true black history. We learn his story, HISSTORY, white colonialism, white supremacy, white dominancy. We learn about that. We only hear about a few black people in black history 1 month out of the freaking year. All we know is about Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. Even when it comes to slavery, we learned about the white people who helped black people. We know about Harriet Tubman. But we don't talk about the many genocides that happened in the United States. So who's going to teach those? Because the DOE is not going to allow that to happen in this school system. And we've been begging them to teach it, because one of the reasons we got this systemic racism going on in the next generation, because they're keeping that from them. They don't want them to know that, because they feel their feelings going to get hurt. And I ain't no white supremacist. Nobody called you one. You just need to know and recognize whether you got the traits or not. And if you won, you won. Get over and fix it.
Absolutely. It'll be a boarding school.
A boarding school. And then for the folks to be able to afford to send their kids to the boarding school, what kind of mechanisms are they using in Georgia? Their own funds? Are they using school vouchers? What are they using?
I can't hear you. Say that again for me. You're breaking up.
I said, what mechanism are they using to send their kids there to pay for the school? Their own money, or are they utilizing vouchers from the Georgia government?
Absolutely. So for our school, we're financed completely by donors. We have many donors that have given yearly endowments to our school that will be able to pay for these students to come to our school for free. Many people believe in our mission, and we're making sure that young black men, where we live, where we don't have any rehab programs for juvenile offenders to even get out of jail and stay out of jail, we have people that believe in our mission that are trying to send children to the X for Boys for free. We have many people that are trying to send kids to this boarding school to be able to take care of themselves. That's what I mean by doing for self. We got to simply get up and do it.
So what this brother is doing, what this brother is saying, look, I'm not going to depend on the government, because if I do, they're going to try to control what I teach in this school. Now, mind you, every school, whether you're going to get a license or charter or whatever to run a school in the United States, there need to be some basics. Math, history, English, the basics. But you can't control on what I teach these kids, because some of these things they need to know, you're not teaching, you're keeping it away from them. And if I get some white students in here, they're not going to know about black history, but you'll give me plenty of money to teach American history, which ain't that much black in it. This guy's going to take this time, and look, the funding is going to come. One of the reasons why he probably went on that show is because the show has a large platform. I ain't gonna lie, people don't watch it live like talking about, but he has a large platform, and it will attract other donors. Ever since this particular event, he had people from the Ali Foundation, Muhammad Ali Foundation, Malcolm X, a lot of people donating into this school. I'm going to donate into the school, because we don't have too many people out here really going hard, bodyguard hard, to train up black youth into black men into being great. I mean, black young boys to become black great men. I'm a vision. I've had that vision before, and we need more than that. This brother is an anomaly, and we need more people like him.
So you don't believe that government policymakers play any role whatsoever in being able to impact the lives of black boys and others in Georgia?
See, he putting words in his mouth.
Take them out of that government system, we don't have to worry about that. I keep saying.
How is that? So hold on. So here's the question. Hold up. Here's the question. Mm-hmm. How do you remove someone out of a government system when we all live in government systems?
We have a government in the United States, but we don't live in them. We don't live in them. It's like Jesus said, Lord, keep them of this world, but don't let them be a part of this world. Let me keep going.
Okay, being literal, absolutely, we all live in a government system. Absolutely. However, you can do things to remove most government from your life.
How?
As far as trying to get yourself out of food stamps, trying to get yourself off of welfare. You got to go work. You got to get jobs.
This man is about the dumbest smart man I ever seen. He's so smart, he's dumb. Yeah, I said that to you, Roland. You can strike me all you want. Nobody. I don't believe this brother is saying government don't have its purpose. The government don't want you staying on food stamps. The government don't want you staying in public housing. The government don't want you. They limit you. Even Bill Clinton changed the laws to limit you. You can't have no more than 4. You have 5 kids, you got to pay for that child on your own. We only doing 4. Is it up to 5? You have 4 or 5 kids, we'll fund them. But that 6th child, you got to go on your own. They have limits. So if the government have a limit, why shouldn't we have a limit? I don't have to depend on the government to do everything for me. Folks out here on unemployment, they're not getting a free handout. They freaking invested working. Even if it was for 90 days, they worked. And they should get tax money back. But they're not going to live off that. Nobody's trying to live off of. You got some people, they do try to take advantage of the system. Believe me, I know. I used to date some girls. Man, I was dating this girl. Man, you know, boyfriend was truck driver, so he was going all during the week. I'm over at the house doing my thing. You know, I'm hustling, so I got money in my pocket, and you know, and I just give her a little bit, you know, for you know. And when he come in town, I leave, go stay in the hotel. He coming down town to be with her. She was killing it. She was living in the projects, getting money from me, getting money from him. I had a lot of money, so the little money I was giving her, can I get my hair done? I'm the one got her hair and nails done. His money, you know, because she with me during the week. His money is going toward the kids. She don't ask for no money. But when he come to town, he's staying there. I ain't got no problem. Bro, do you? You gonna be gone in 2 days. As soon as you leave, I'm coming back later on that night. These women, you got a lot of women out here in the world, they use the system just like that, and they're all colors. You got a lot of people come to this country just to get some of the government benefits. But they have to learn how not to depend on that because it's not a guarantee. And that's what this brother's talking about.
You got to get out here and go and do it.
So hold up. So I'm just curious. So if somebody doesn't have a job, are they not applying to government for unemployment benefits or insurance?
Absolutely.
So how can that person remove themselves out of government when that's what government provides?
This man just say absolutely, dummy. But you know you can't live off that because unemployment runs out. So you got to get a job. Or you ain't gonna have no money. Or you start your business. Dude, get on my nerves, man.
Absolutely. Well, my thing is trying to make sure you're not allowing the government to finance your whole entire life. As long as you're giving somebody the right to feed you, you're giving them the right to starve you as well. People are living their whole lives off the government systems. It was the day the government decide, well, we're going to cut food stamps, we're going to cut this and cut that. What we going to do? We have people out here living off those systems. So I believe in teaching our people how to go survive without the government. That's my biggest thing.
But again, though, you keep saying, I'm trying to understand. You keep saying how to survive without the government. No,
bro, you just trying to blow off what he's saying. You know what he's saying is true, and you just trying to blow it off. He is saying the exact thing that Martin Luther King talked about, the same thing that Malcolm X talked about, the same thing that Marcus Garvey talked about, same thing that Medgar Evers talked about. I can go on and on and on. Of the black thought leaders say we need to detach ourselves. Sure. You use whatever. I mean, if you're in a situation where you have no choice, you use it, but don't stay on it. It's a drug.
Is if a young black boy who comes into your program will not interface with government in any way. They will interface with government still driving down the street. They will interface with government trying to get a driver's license. They will interface with government trying to get a voter ID. They will interface with government trying to apply for financial aid to go to college. So they're going to interface with government in many ways. The point I'm saying is, doesn't it make sense that black folks should be engaged in a political process to where we are impacting policy that also impacts us? Are you?
Where? In this election, black people did not put themselves in a position to impact government policy. They let one dummy by the name of James Clyburn sell them out for votes without getting anything in exchange. He gave Joe Biden free support without saying, Joe Biden, you want me to go out there and endorse you? And, you know, I'm the black Negro whisperer. I'm black Jesus. They listen to whatever I say. If you want their support, I need this, 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 and this. And I need you to commit to it right now. I need you to put it in a document. I need you to put it in a contract for Black America. And get it done, and then I'll endorse you. He sold us out. Roland Martin. So, yes, we're going to always have different government agencies involved in our lives that we have to go to, but we don't have to need them. I ain't got to go to DMV because I don't have to drive. I go get an ID because they forced me to get one. There's a lot of things I can do without the government, but not saying that I don't need the government. The government is there to serve the people. We're not there to serve the government. Roland Martin wants people to serve the government. The government is there to serve the people. And the government don't start serving black people. The black people need to start detaching themselves away from the government and putting some applied political pressure on the government, which they failed to do in this election.
You saying that doesn't matter at all?
I only believe that we should breed politicians in our community that we raise ourselves. People that are funded by white.
Malcolm X, Ballot of the Bullet. Go listen to it. This is exactly what he's saying.
Democrats, white, Republicans alike. If you were funded by anybody white, I don't believe you have the best interest of our community at all. I don't care who you are. Whether you be Raphael Warnock, John Ossoff, Kelly Loeffler, or what's his name? The other guy that was running. I don't care who you are. You don't have the best interest of the black community at heart because we are not funding their campaigns fully. I believe that we have to raise our own politicians, which is what we're trying to do in our program. We are going to put them in government. Some of them want to go run for positions, but we know we bred them in our communities.
But what? Hold on. See,
not nothing white Democrats that came and gave us and spent millions of dollars on all these ads and got folks all riled up about these guys for you to come keep black people remain a Democrat Party and the Republican Party side chick. They only come to the black community when they want our vote to get off and then disappear. We don't never
exactly.
But here's the thing that's again interesting. You just offered a contradiction. You first say you want to remove people from government, but then you say
there's a difference between removing and depending. There's a difference between removing and depending. Let's let this fool keep saying that.
Hey, you're raising them to run. So which one is it?
When I say remove from government, I'm saying keep as much government out of your life as possible.
But how are you raising people to run for office?
Say it again.
How are you then raising people to run for office if you don't want folks involved in government? So here's the deal. Okay, how about this? So the young men that you're raising up to be in government, how in the world are they going to be able to be effective when you have Republicans who are passing voter suppression laws, and then you're saying, well, that's really our issue? Aren't they making it harder for the very folks you trying to?
He never said that's not black people's issue. He said that's not my issue, man. My issue is the school.
Raise up to get elected?
I didn't say our issue. I said that's not my issue that I'm fighting.
But like you just said you're raising up politicians.
Again, that's for when the children, what they want to do. I'm not raising them directly just saying, oh, you got to go be a politician. No, for the kids that want to go in that area, I have mentors for them to go into that area.
But shouldn't we be fighting voter suppression laws that make it?
Guys, I got to stop this because this dude is really pissing me off. This brother's coming up here to talk about his school and what they're planning on doing with the school building, the whole 9 yards. This fool, want to get in an argument about politics and whether politics want to work or not. He's basically saying, look, my issue is getting black kids in a school where they can get properly educated and they can really know about their history as well as all history and become great productive citizens. That's my fight. I'm too busy fighting this fight. I have no energy to put towards you. And I'm not going to even tell other people to go fight your fight because I got people I need to help me fight this fight, man. What are you talking about? And you getting mad at me and getting upset and want to contradict me? and try to make me feel like I'm a dummy, just like he tried to do with Ice Cube. Roland Martin, and I'm going to say this clearly, don't like black independence. He'll preach it, but he don't like black independence. He want somebody to bend on, suck on the nip of the Democratic Party, just like you got some of these fools in the Republican Party that want somebody to suck up on the nip of the Republican Party, when we, like this black brother said, we need to they need to get them breasts cut off. Guys, I'm not expecting you to stay up on here, but I got to dig into this. And I hope to God he do come and try to strike them, because this is fair use. I'm breaking it down. I'm not charging anybody for nothing. I really don't expect you guys to be up this late, and I am breaking this down. I'm pausing it and I'm commenting. I'm doing everything that fair use is telling me I should do. And if he want to come around and start striking me again, then I am going to file a suit against him. And can I do that? Yes. Personally, because he is trying to stop me from my First Amendment right.
Get it harder for them to get elected?
Mr. Roland, if you can't go get, what's the problem with black folk going to get voter ID?
No, the issue is not a voter ID.
Okay.
No, wait. Hold up. Stop. Hold up.
In New York State, you got to have a voter ID. And we're Democrat. We blue too. We red in the face. Blue in the face.
You just said, what's the issue? If you live in rural Georgia, and you've seen the closures of driver's license offices, and you don't have transportation, then the question is, how are you then accessing it? In Texas, for instance, when Texas passed its voter ID law, they showed that 600 to 800,000 African Americans and Latinos were going to be negatively impacted by the voter ID law in Texas because of where they could go. In Texas, they said that you could not use your state-issued student ID at a state institution, but if you had a hunting license, you could. In Pennsylvania, when they passed their voter ID law, they required you to actually travel to an office to fill out a form to say you could not afford a license, an ID. You then would have to go back home, and then once they certified that, come back. There was some 20% of elderly who couldn't do it. There are black people in Georgia who do not have birth certificates, who cannot get a voter ID. So that's just one issue with the voter ID. But in Georgia...
All right, so let me stop here. Oh, God. New York, we have to have an ID. This is what New York does. They have a picture of you in the system, old as dust. All you have to do is go online and reapply. State issued government ID. What's the problem? Every state can make it available where somebody can get their ID online, mailed to their house. You're talking about Texas, that's where he's from. That's where his show is originally is. He has an office in D.C., but he's really in Texas. So you got so many illegal immigrants, and I'll say illegal. Some people don't like me doing that. They're in the country illegally, and they're going to these flea markets, buying up these fake IDs, identity theft. I know, I teach on it all the time. They have busted plenty of places on identity theft, and people just going in the flea market, buying up these IDs, and so easy to make these. Well, they kind of put holograms on it where they make it difficult. But back in the day, I used to show a video in my classes, people making a New York ID just like that, and it looked just like the original ID. So, no, Roland. There's plenty of ways to get a photo ID. In New York, we're blue as they come. We have to have a voter ID. And it don't matter where you live at. You can live in the mountains of Peekskill. You still can have that ID mailed to you. I lost my ID in the subway. Had to get another one. Went online, paid the $8. Bada boom, bada bang. I got another ID. I don't have to go take a new picture because they already got my picture in the system. Changed my address. Went and got a new ID, went right through the system. So don't come with this cockamamie reason for people trying to get people on your side.
Republicans, hold up. That's just one issue. In Georgia, right now, Republicans want to make it a crime to hand out water and food if folks are waiting in line to vote. Does that make sense?
Okay, if they gonna do that, then how about before people go and vote, y'all go set up like you usually do and go hand it to them before they go get in line? It's a way around that. Like,
Hold up, wait. You do realize there were massive lines in Georgia and other states, but again, you still dance around my question. Why legislate handing out of water and food? Why?
I don't know. You got to ask them that.
No, you the conservative. You in Georgia. Hold up.
Conservative don't mean he's Republican. Conservative don't mean he's involved with every Republican issue. This man don't even consider himself a Republican. He's just a conservative. Just like a lot of progressives don't consider themselves a Democrat, they consider themselves a progressive. I'm not attached to your freaking party. Stop sticking me to your party. I hate you both. You're good for nothing. They're literally good for nothing. Got a few people here and there, but they're literally good for nothing. All they care about is their own position. They don't give a crap about you. Like my boy Tim Black say, both parties suck, Johnson.
These are your lawmakers, not mine. These are yours. Mm-hmm. So the question is, how much sense does it make to outlaw water and food?
I don't see why they doing that. That's something. That's a question for me too. I don't understand why.
So do you also think?
Why are you saying also think as if he believed that? The boy just told you. I don't know. Far as me either. Honestly speaking, I don't know. Far as I know, he could have pulled that out of the crack of his sugar bear behind. He could be making that stuff up, but even if it's true, I don't know about it. He don't know about it. Why are you asking me dumb questions about stuff I don't know, man? Just because I'm a conservative don't mean I know about that stuff. You're making yourself look like a fool. I'm not those dudes, man. So you got the wrong person up here. I'm here to talk about my school.
I think it's wrong for Republicans in Georgia to restrict voting on Sundays when they're specifically targeting black people who do souls to the polls. Is that good or bad?
Well, I didn't see the law that said they're directly targeting black people, but I would assume
who votes on Sunday?
To the polls.
More black people are participating in voting on Sunday and souls to the polls. That's targeting black people. So
you can't use that. He's assuming who votes on Sunday. Who votes, period? Majority of black people doing most of the voting in America. So why you got to make that? I said that on the show before. There's all kind of ways you can get around this thing. I got on, you saw me, I got on the issue that was happening in Louisiana. I got on a situation that was happening in Texas, how they changed the laws in Texas. You want to talk about Alabama, he not even talk about his own state. How they changed the laws in the Texas Assembly, making it harder for you to vote when they should have been making it better. Number one, voting should be a holiday. A paid holiday. Change the laws. If you have to start from the local level on up, change the laws, make it a paid holiday. People shouldn't have to go to work. Number two, the polls shouldn't close to 12 a.m. 12 a.m. because people work 8 hours. By the time they get home, get off of work and they go to the polling station, they got a long freaking line. The close should not poll to 8 a.m. And the voting should start at the beginning of the freaking month. With those three, there's no freaking excuse why you ain't voting. None. You ain't got to go to work. They can't force you to work. You're going to get paid for it. You got all month to vote. I'm talking about literally go in and put the thing in the ballot. I'm not talking about absentee ballot. You got all month to go in there and vote. It should not be a voting day. It should be a voting month. But that's just me.
You think that's okay? So you also think that's a bad idea, right?
I would think that's a bad idea, but if that push come to shove, we got to vote on another day. If we really want to vote, we got to go make it happen.
Push come to shove. What about ballot drop boxes? So, for instance, they're going to require them to be located inside of early voting locations, which means that you can...
Folks, why are he asking this boy this question? Why is he talking to them? You need to be talking to Sean Hannity or somebody. This brother just trying to build a school. This guy's doing something great, something that Roland Martin cannot. I'm about to call him Martin Lawrence. This guy's doing something great in his old age that he cannot ever do.
You can only drop off your ballot when the voting location is open. If it's closed at 6 and you get off work, you can't drop it off. As opposed to right now, it's 24 hours. If you could just come by like a mailbox, drop it off. Good or bad?
That's bad. I agree. That's bad.
Okay. So that's bad.
Absolutely. I agree.
Got it. You also have, they restrict early voting buses to emergencies, meaning if you said y'all bought a school bus, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That means if you decided to say, hey, we're going to provide a public service to the people in Albany and drive them to the polls, this law says you can't do that.
That's a problem.
So, for the things I mentioned is a problem. Okay, all right. Do you also think...
He mentioned just about everything he said is a problem. He's not getting no pushback on this. See, he thought this guy was a typical black Republican, like the dude named Robert or something on the show. I'm sorry.
It's a problem. It says bans outside funding of elections from nonprofit organizations. So you have governmental entities who say, hey, we can't afford X number of workers. You got nonprofits out there, nonpartisan, where people actually fund staff and things along those lines. Republicans in your state say, oh, we're going to outlaw that too.
Okay.
Good or bad?
That's a problem.
All right. So disqualifies provisional ballots cast in the wrong precinct. So let's say you weren't aware they switched the precinct and you actually voted in that precinct. This law says, sorry, forget about it. It gets thrown out.
First of all, you should know your precinct. That's why I said this should be a month thing. You should know your precinct. They normally mail you a letter on who to vote for and how to vote in your mailbox. The state does that. And it tells you where your voting is. So if they change the precinct at the last minute, that's a problem. But you should know ahead of time where you're going to be voting.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's good or bad. It's something you got to pay attention to.
Yeah, but you got to pay attention to. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
They set a deadline to request absentee ballots 11 days before election day. Why? I mean, like, what's the big deal?
You got to ask your lawmakers.
No, they're actually passing it, but you're a resident of the state. Aren't you concerned about the laws that these folks are passing that are going to have an impact on the people there in Albany, Georgia?
Absolutely. However, that's not my fight. We have people fighting for that, but I'm not fighting for that. I mean,
you're not fighting for it. Do you care?
Okay.
Do you care?
Yeah, I care, but I know I got people like you and other people around here fighting for our right to do that. The body has.
Exactly. Why I got to be involved? You guys own it. Y'all ain't trying to open up a school. Y'all not trying to get materials to get in the school. Y'all not providing out one bus. You're not providing lunch meals. You're not giving me enough money to pay the staff. My concern is that we're a body. I'm the hand. You the foot. You go do what feet do. You need to put it up your own butt. But I'm a hand. And Roland don't get this, man.
Many different parts. That's not my fight.
Gotcha. So if you're trying to move folks to change things, they're in Albany, and this is one of those things that is a part of our process, is a part of way of life. Meaning, you can be out there, you can have your own business, you can do for self, you can have an urban farm, you can do all those sort of different things. But if Republican lawmakers in Georgia are making it difficult for you as a citizen to be able to participate in the electoral process, should that not be contested? Should that not be fought? Yes or no?
I believe it should be fought. If we do find issue and fault with that, I definitely believe we should stand up and go fight for that. The people who do fight for that, but that's not something I fight for. Again, that's just not my fight. I know we have people here that are doing that and that are fighting for
and I support them.
Injustices, but that's not my area of injustice. Body has different parts.
You talked about getting donations from various people. Do you think it's a part of your fight if African American businesses are not getting their fair share of city, county, and state contracts? Because if black businesses are able to actually get their fair share of taxpayer dollars with contracts, they actually can create and grow businesses and build capacity to help fund initiatives like yours. So does that matter?
Yeah, absolutely. That matters. Yes.
So, but that's also tied to government. So, so would you be willing to work with folks who are petitioning government to increase the capacity of black businesses in getting state contracts?
Ask that question again for me.
Would you be willing to fight with others to grow the capacity of black businesses to get city, county, and state contracts where they are being able to build their businesses? Because in America, prior to COVID, you had 2.6 million black-owned businesses in America. 2.5 million only had one employee doing average revenue of $54,000. Because of COVID, we lost 41% of black businesses. And so does that petitioning government matter getting those contracts to you?
Absolutely. I definitely agree.
So that's something that you would also fight for.
Don't mean he'll fight for it, man. He agree and he support the people that's already fighting for it. The man got more stuff on his plate. He ain't got time to be fighting. People fight. Oh, God, man, this guy, we got too many black knuckleheads think just like that. And majority of them are in the CBC. I got the school over here. Y'all ain't doing anything to help, and I'm not really looking for y'all to help. But you're not even asking what I should do for you, but you asking what you should do for me, but you want me to do something for you. You want me to sit here and fight your fights, but you don't want to fight my fight over here. I would love it for y'all to just give me 10 school buses. But I still got to hire people to run the school buses. So I'm done. Almost done.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm even encouraging some of my children to start businesses, so that's something they would have to look into. Absolutely.
But wouldn't you also want to have legislators who are in office who are more likely to support that initiative versus those who are against it?
Absolutely. I definitely agree.
Which means that in order to get those folks elected, we must be able to have uninhibited access to the ballot.
Right, absolutely. But as far as seeing some of the things on the bill, you know, as far as the feeding and stuff like that, I mean, we not slow and we don't have a learning disability. I believe some of those things we can get taken care of. We can go get IDs. We could go start a black voter IDs matter and go help people go get their IDs. I mean, these are things we could do.
Yeah, but you keep going back to ID as if that's the only issue, and that's not the only issue.
That's not the only thing. I'm just saying.
He just brought that up because you brought it up, knucklehead. All the things you brought up, I'm saying we don't need to go to the government to do. We can help people get their IDs. We can come up. I could take my bus and go pick up grandma and all them and take them to the DMV. Whatever problem, stop, man. Stop. You don't have to try to get people to donate to this politician and act blue and all this kind of stuff to get these things changed. We got a problem with that? We'll take the bus. See, understand, folks, when Dr. King wanted to get something done, they went and they had to buy tickets to get on the Greyhound, and eventually they end up getting their own buses and stuff like that. They didn't wait on Johnson. They didn't wait. The Black Panthers didn't wait on. I'm not waiting on y'all to feed our kids healthy food. If we have to get some cornmeal or whatever and feed them food, we gonna feed our kids. I don't even know if I'm still on, man. Give me a moment, people. I'm gonna let this knucklehead keep talking. Give me a second.
And like that's one of the issues.
No, that's one.
There.
That's one. I read for you about 10 of them. That's one. So that's one particular thing right there. And so, but what's interesting though is that again, government plays a role in being able to change the condition of the lives of people as well. if there are people who are restricting our access to the ballot, they're restricting our ability to be able to change the conditions of various communities. So therefore, why would we not consider that to be an important issue, just like an important issue of being able to buy a school, fund a school, and when you say do for self? Because again, the people who I hear the most who yell do for self, you know what? They get a whole lot from government.
Mm-hmm.
They got to do with him.
So when you say do for self, we can't divorce ourselves from the reality of the role that government plays.
Well, this
because
is the same
in fact,
America.
your school, you bought it. You have to. That has to be up to code, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
That's government.
Okay.
And so we can't. So this notion of removing ourselves from government just doesn't exist because we deal with it every single day.
Well, in conservatism, we believe in less government.
No, they don't.
No government.
Hold up.
Less government.
If conservatives believe in less government, why are they passing this bill, which is more government and actually is going to cost? Hold up. This bill is going to cost. Hold up. Here's the other deal. This bill is going to cost Georgia taxpayers $30 million more to make it harder to vote. That I would think, as a fiscal conservative, that's stupid.
It is. I agree.
So,
Roland, the dude don't need nobody to help the government to help him get the school to code. There are investors, there are people who like to donate. You got people in Georgia, you got all these black people who always wanted to do something. They could start with that. You got these millionaires that's going to fall in love with these programs. You don't. You got people that are volunteer. The Black Panther had carpenters and all these people that came in to redo the building that got blown up and all that kind of stuff. So stop. You don't have to depend on government. If you want to suck on the nipple of Uncle Sam or Governor Cuomo, then that's you, bro.
If you agree with that, and if you agree that it makes no sense to limit Sunday voting, if you agree that it makes no sense banning outside funding of elections, and you agree that it makes no sense restricting early voting buses to emergencies, in your mind, so in your view, Republicans in Georgia should not be voting for this bill and making these changes, yes or no?
Absolutely. Considering the pros and cons, yeah, definitely. I don't believe the bill should pass. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
What you got?
Do you make of black Republicans who say nothing about any of this, who frankly are silent in Georgia as this is happening?
I'm very critical of black Republicans and black conservatives when they're not addressing the issues that directly affect us. Absolutely, I don't hold my tongue on that at all. If it's an issue that's directly affecting the black community, that's hurting us, absolutely they get chastised. From Candace Owens all the way down to whoever, everybody gets chastised. From me, I believe we definitely all of us need some criticism, whatever side you on. So I definitely don't hold my tongue regardless of whatever party they consider themselves in, because I'm independent.
And
right.
So when you talk about building what you're doing there, what's the next step for that?
Oh, absolutely. All right. So right now we just purchased our school. And again, we're working with boys 11 to 17. And we're working with grades 6 through 12. We have to renovate our school right now. And after we get finished renovating our school, we're also going to start our summer program where we're going to teach 40 young men how to build 2 houses from the ground up. We're going to get Lowe's to sponsor this for us, and we're going to make that happen. So right now, we're just trying to get all our ducks in a row, get the accreditation that we need, so that way the children can use their diplomas to go to college, et cetera, and also do dual enrollment with Albany Technical College here where we are to work in the skilled trades. Our biggest thing is just trying to make sure those children who may not want to go to college also have a way to make it and to see that they can make it. So for me being young and 21 and doing these things for them, I just want to make sure that they can be young black in America and still go make it happen regardless of the stereotypes they give us.
You spoke of accreditation. From who's it? From who?
We have I think it's the Georgia Accreditation Commission.
That's government.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. See,
Look at you, big beanbag head. Lama Beanhead fool. He didn't say we need to get government out of our lives. He said we need to reduce their roles in our lives. They don't need to be controlling, and we don't need to be always sucking on the nip of them. There's certain things that we have to go to government about. We fund the government, you numbnut. They work for us. It's not the other way around. They work for us. Our tax dollars are funding the government. So yeah, if I need them to do something, I'm gonna go to them and tell them I expect them to do something. No, you depend on me. I don't depend on you, Roland. So stop trying to make it seem like we have to depend on them. No, I fund them. So when I need to go get something, I expect to get something. That's not a dependent. That's going to return on my freaking investment.
The point I'm making here is that even with the effort that you're doing, you cannot divorce yourself from government. Which means that which means that for you to be even more effective,
less government, bro,
is to have individuals who are in power in government who are not standing in the way of what it is that you're trying to do. In fact, they are encouraging that. The problem is when we have individuals who are blocking the very thing that you're talking about and not providing access to folks, whether it's voting, whether it's contracts, whether it's participating in this so-called American dream. That's the fundamental problem I'm talking about. So when I say we have to fight on all those fronts, we can't say I'm going to just do for self as if I don't have to deal with this whole system. We got to make sure that there are people who are in power who are sympathetic to folk like you, but who are not trying to make what you're trying to do harder.
And you believe the only people that are sympathetic with us is the people in the Democratic Party. A lot of black people think nobody other than Democrats are sympathetic. When you got a lot of people in the Democratic Party ain't sympathetic for you. They turned your $15 an hour down. They're not sympathetic. Joe Biden said, I will veto any bill passed concerning health care. That's not Obamacare. He's not sympathetic with you.
Right, and when I mentioned at the beginning, I said the body has a full anatomy, meaning somebody has to be the heart, somebody has to be the brain, somebody has to be your lungs. When I say I'm doing for self, I'm over here working with my children and we doing for self. You are being the lungs or the brain or what have you, and you are fighting on that end for the black community. That's not my fight. When I said that, ain't that I don't care. It's just I got stuff I'm worrying about on this side. I like for you to worry about the voter suppression and things like that, but I'm going to worry about the children on this side, and that's what I want to do. I want to help the kids. I don't necessarily worry about what's going on in government because I know people in our communities that are going hard for that. I don't need to go hard for that because other people are going hard for that for us because they believe in what we're doing. So absolutely, I definitely appreciate everybody's fight in our community. I mean, our fight has a whole body, but I can't fight every fight. I'm going to fight the one fight that I believe in and that I'm good at.
Well, absolutely, and that's why I use the phrase we all have lanes. And that's why it's important, though, for us to recognize that although I might be in this lane, for me, I'm in the media lane. I understand, though, that there's a difference between me leading a fight in another lane and providing support to somebody else in another lane. Mm-hmm. What I'm not going to do is diminish the reality of that or say that's not important. So what I will do is I can sit here and use what I am doing to say, hey, I can amplify what somebody else is doing. What I'm not going to do.
Are you amplifying what this brother doing? Or are you just talking trash, Roland? Are you amplifying what this brother doing?
Would say that's irrelevant to what's going on because the reality is, even in my case in media, I own this. This is an independent media, but guess what? The federal government spends $1 billion a year on media advertising. If we're getting shut out of those dollars, then we aren't able to grow, but other media institutions are. So
see, he's sucking on the nips of the government. He admits it, and he think everybody you can't survive without sucking on Uncle Sam nips. I need those advertising dollars to stay alive. I thought you and Jink, you were a bunch of media whores, man. I thought the people were funding you. This brother saying I don't need that, and y'all mad because he don't need that. Surely you gotta need it. We need it. We need to suck on those nipples. I need to suck both of them at the same time. I need Uncle Sam rolling his head, eyes in the back of his neck. That's how hard I'm sucking on those nipples. He's saying, I don't know, man, I ain't sucking on no grown man nipples. You into that? Fine. But I ain't sucking on nipples. I'm sucking the nipples of independent living.
I can never be of the position to say, hey, I want to remove myself from government, because the reality is this. When you're born, that birth certificate is a government.
The dudes didn't say he was removing himself from government, you dumb idiot. You talk more than you listen. And that's your problem. You need to shut up and listen to people, man. Stop acting like you know it all.
Document. When you get immunized, that's a government document. When you get married, first of all, that high school diploma is a government document. When you get married,
Absolutely.
That's a government document. When you get divorced, that's a government document. And when you die, your death certificate is a government document. And so my point is this here. I want to make sure that we are involved in the voting process to ensure that we are electing people who have our best interests at heart and who are passing good policy to allow us to be.
Can you name me people that you really know have our best interests in heart? After what Joe Biden did, all his career concerning black people, all of a sudden he got our best interests at heart. After the history of Kamala Harris in California, she got our best interests at heart. Donald Trump had our best interests at heart. You think the Trump kids got his best? Get out of here. Get out of here. You don't know who has our best interests at heart. The only people who have our best interests at heart is our community and the community leaders supposed to be. Not a politician.
Be able to do the things that you're talking about, but what I will never do is say, hey, I ain't sweating that, because that could actually make your job a hell of a lot harder. How can folks get in touch with your organization?
Oh God, this dude, man. This dude never said he said, look, I know there's people that's organizing in that area. I basically said I support those people organizing in that area. But I'm not going to spend my time, energy, anything into that. I may donate personally to that effort, but I'm not making no phone calls. I'm not breaking. No, I got too much to do over here. I didn't say I don't give a crap about what you guys are doing concerning getting a push in government. I didn't say that. I agree with just about everything you said. And I'm not even saying you can't even lean on the government. I'm just saying we need not to lean on them for majority of our issues. Majority of the issues we can do our freaking self. I don't need the government to give me a bunch of seeds to plant in your garden. I can go to the grocery store, buy my own freaking seeds. Aisle 3 in the back. You want the government, you want people to buy into the Democratic Party and believe they can give you everything. And they can't and they shouldn't. Because when you do that, when you trust the government to do everything, then they can control you. And right now, they would love to control this boy's school. They would love to give him all kind of money for the school, but tell him what he can and can't teach. You got to go by, if you want these money, you got to get it through the guidelines of the Department of Education. Nah, I'm cool, bro. Nah, they ain't got it 100% good. I'm going to teach my boys true history. Oh, we're going to teach them the basics. And I don't need your money. I might need you for something else, but I don't need you to fund this school. All this talking, look at this smirk on his face. All this trying to make him look like an idiot and don't know what he's doing when he actually looked like an idiot when the boy was agreeing with majority of everything he's saying. Then he gonna ask him about the school. Didn't ask him no questions about the school, how it's operated, how it's funded. No. He had to force that in the conversation.
Absolutely. Well, my name is King Randall. You can follow me on all social media at New Emerging King on Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat. And Mr. Roland, I definitely would love for us to stop with the Twitter back and forth battles. I'd actually like for you to come speak with my kids, or at least talk to them via Zoom. Because, like I said, I was a fan before, but I don't really care for the going back and forth on social media. So I would love for you to speak with the kids. And also Miss Erica Savage, one of your former hosts, she's a big fan of mine. And so I definitely love for you to come talk to my kids.
No,
Absolutely.
that's not a problem. And again, when I was in Albany, I was there 3 times helping Ossoff and Warnock trying to rally black folks.
Of
there.
course.
So I had no problem being in Albany. Got no problem speaking with the kids. And if I do, I'm definitely going to teach them about the power of voting and how to use it. So just let me know when you want to do that.
Yeah, come on with it. How you gonna teach something? How you gonna teach the power of voting and how to use it when you don't even know how to use the power of voting? This guy's a clown, man. This guy's a straight up clown show, man. Roland Martin is a clown show. Come on my show. I'm gonna educate you. You can't educate me. I can't learn nothing from you. You come on my show, I'm gonna educate you. I didn't come on your show for you to educate me about voting, man. I vote. But I have a different philosophy of voting. I believe the power of voting is in making a demand in order to get my vote. I don't believe the power of voting is just voting Democrat or voting for somebody in the Democratic Party, no matter what color they are. No. Because once you give them power, it's hard for you to come and ask for something in exchange for it. No, you ask for something in exchange before you get the power. See, a lot of women around here, they don't give up. They don't give it up. Like talking about, you gonna work, bro. You gonna work. No, you want something that's precious to me. Myself, I'm too good. Well, you wouldn't know how to act, man. You'd be acting like the O.J. Simpson. You'd be acting like somebody hiding in the bushes. I can't just give this to anybody. You got to earn this. And we need to do the same way. Our commitment to partyism is what's hurting us. Now, I feel this, brother. I got a little conservative. I got a little progressive in me. And we already know that you can't depend on these political leaders. Now, government work for you. You invest in it, you run it, your money goes into it. All these people got these government positions. They're getting paid off your dollars, not just the government dollars, your dollars. So no, government is beholden to you, Roland Martin. You don't owe the government a doggone thing. And yeah, most of the stuff that we deal with every day, we don't need the government support on it. Is there, we invest it, our money build it, our money maintain it, is there for a purpose, but it's not there to be sucking on like it's a bottle. Roland Martin wants somebody to continue to be sold out to partyism, and he want to continue to tell people you can't be all you can be unless the Democratic Party make you that way. And I'm here to tell you, you'll never be who you can be sucking on the titties, the nipples of partyism. I'm of the old lineage of Malcolm X. Your strength relies in your separatism. Detach and attack. When I say detach and attack, you stop showing your allegiance to them. You bond together as one voting bloc, showing no allegiance to no party. Therefore, both of them, if they want to win, they have to come begging to you. You don't beg them. And that's why I appreciate this, brother. And before we go, let's go check out a couple things concerning this, brother. I want you to go to his website. The website is the xforboys.org. Making men great again. Okay, and honestly speaking, people know, we're into this, women's rights and women's getting all this position and things like that, and I'm all for it. But don't forget, men are a staple of this country too. And we're trying to neglect one for the other, and we should not do that at all. But this is his website. You can join us, help our cause, support the contribution will enable us to meet our goals and improve the conditions. They got some merch if you want to support them through merch, Big Boy Faith. Go look at his interview on Dr. Boyce Watkins' show, and and go check him out, man. The brother is doing some great things, and I applaud him for it. Teaching kids how to change a tire, you know, how to farm. Look over here. Let me see if I can go over here. You know, teaching them how to shoot. You know, this brother out here doing it. This brother out here doing it. You know, housing them, teach them how to be plumbers. We need more of this. This is a good thing. He's doing more for our community than Roland Martin could ever do. More for our community than Roland Martin could ever do. Brother inspired me to do something like that in here in New York. So go check him out, man. Go check out the brother. Here's his LinkedIn. Go hit him up on LinkedIn. And here's an article about the guys. Young black community leaders step in to raise up strong boys in Georgia. And here's another article. So that's that. So it's a good thing we got young brothers in the fashion of, you know, Fred Hampton, going out here bringing in kids off the street. And I'm quite sure he's not going to stick with just boys. Quite sure he's going to have something for the ladies soon. But it's mainly our boys that are getting hemmed up and everything. So I applaud this brother, and I hope we get more brothers like them. And please, you get a chance, support him. He's an independent. Yeah, he has some conservatism, but he don't lean Republican or Democrat. He's an ADOS, and he believes in serving his community first and anything else second. Not first and that's it. First and everything else is second. And he do believe in the government limited role. And I do too. I don't think my tax dollars, your tax dollars should be going towards you, but these numbnuts are not going to be doing anything to break their back to make this country serve the needs of the people until the people put a lock hold on them through the power of making a demand before you make a commitment to vote.